Deep in the ocean, an orca pod is on the hunt. But these aren't your average orcas. These guys are organized.
Marketing team, did you get those social media posts scheduled for the SEAL migration?
Aye, Captain. We even have an automated notification for all pod managers when they go live.
They use Monday.com to keep their teamwork sharp, their communication clear, and their goals in sight. Monday.com. For whatever you run, even orcas. Go to Monday.com to dive deeper.
Well, I don't see the point in waiting any longer. So let's bring her out. The star attraction, the one you came to see. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Miss Judy Gold.
So you get out, you work immediately after college. And
Immediately.
then
That goes on for about 3 years, and then things really start. Then real life started hitting.
right. And you have this friend, Jordan.
Yes, good old Jordan.
Jordan.
Yeah.
Jordan is a very big character in this book. And
Yes, and he's one of my. And and just a side note, he's one of my best friends today.
Is he a Jew?
Oh yeah, total Jew.
Okay, just need
Yeah,
to bring that.
they're all Jews.
I know, Milo. I mean, they're all Jews.
They're all Jews. Seth Goldberg, Jew.
Yes.
And they have that description of him looking like a Puerto Rican Jesus, even
Yes, I love
Ukrainian
that.
Jew.
Yeah.
And talked sounded much like Elmer Fudd via the Jersey Shore.
Yeah, that was
Which is exactly what he, they're all Jews.
You bump into Jordan.
Yeah.
I think walking Tybalt, right?
Tybalt, yeah. Tybalt,
I didn't know how to say it, but I really feel like, in a way, this book is such a love story to Tybalt.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
what a relationship with that.
Yeah, he was remarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't know if you have animals, but you have some animals in your life that are just, there's something else going on.
Yeah.
There's just something else going on.
Yeah. I mean, there are you describe some scenes where it's just like, he's otherworldly. I mean, it's incredible. How smart he is. So you're walking the dog and you bump into Jordan, and Jordan's like dealing marijuana, and you're staying at your grandparents' apartment on 85th Street.
Yes.
Right in my neighborhood. And,
okay.
He's like, if you want, we need.
No, that was me. It wasn't him.
Right.
It was me.
No, he was like he was describing, and you were saying, if you want, you can store the marijuana.
No, I said, come upstairs, use the phone, and he looks at the 12-room apartment, and he's like, and I said, and he looks at the, and I said. And I insisted anytime you're doing what it is you do, that you come up and use the apartment. Right. And he cased the joint, which I loved saying. And he came back and he said, Rob, this could really work out. And I said, I insist it work out. And he said, you would be paid. And I said, no, I couldn't accept money. And he's like, no, you'd be paid a lot of money. And I was like, oh, okay. Stupid as fuck. But that was so funny about it because I was so stupid. You think it's just pot. Who cares? Right. But then you find out it's like, it's like a quarter ton twice a month. Right.
And you are storing it and you're trying to hide it from, there's one asshole doorman.
Yeah.
And you're using the freight elevator.
No, we used the front elevator.
Oh, the front elevator.
Yeah. And there was, with the first load we had up, there was a woman there. She's like, what's the box? And then Jordan's there with the guy who's the driver. And he's just like, and they're sweating and they're dying. And I'm like, and all of a sudden I became all foppy and effeminate. And I said, these are dear friends of mine. And they're opening a store in Tribeca and these are closed. And the store is shut for some reason. And I was always like, where was this Fifth Avenue panache coming from? And then I was like, and I was just doing this. She was like, and she said, oh, that's wonderful. And I'm like, the shirts are exquisite. It's just wonderful. She said, oh, well, what's the name of the store? And I made something up. Yeah. He left. We got the load in. And then Jordan looked at me and said, oh, my God. you're perfect for this. This is great. And I was like, and I thought, wow, I'd finally found my calling, and I was getting like $3,000 a pop for every load we did, which doesn't sound like much, but this is like
$6,000 a month, and like
$6,000 a month, and this was 1988.
Right.
Plus, he would give me $1,000 here and $1,000 there, and of course, after we did that first thing, and then we started like cutting down the pods and everything, and the next day, all the drug dealers coming in for getting their cuts, and it was so stupid because all these guys look like they don't belong in the building. They're all coming to my grandparents' apartment. Obviously, something is going on. And there's I go to my shitty mattress and I walk in at one point and I know it's has to be $1 million because it's all 20s.
Right.
And I'm just like, you've never seen anything like this. And I said to him, I was like, afterwards, was that $1 million? He said, actually, it's 1.2 million. And I was like, oh, maybe you should pay me more for doing this. And it's fun, you're like James Bond. It was hysterical.
You said you would pour it out. You would take the boxes, right? And you would put them in hefty, and then you would take the
hefty trash bags,
yeah, and you put them in the hefty bags.
Yep.
You'd weigh it, and you would then they would come and be like, "Give me my."
Yeah, then they would come, and then they go into my room. They conducted business in my room. I wasn't supposed to be privy to it. And then they would come and go, and a carousel of them would come and leave. Right. And it was just and I had all this money, and all of a sudden I started buying all this gangster ghetto gear, and my back loosened up, and all of a sudden I became this really groovy guy. No, I felt I was really trying to get into the role of a ghetto gangster, the sweats and the marshmallow shoes, and I had a Harley Davidson hat that I probably wore badly. And it was really great and stupid, but it was a lot of fun.
But you had it. You said it it made you relax. You didn't give a shit at auditions because you were like, I don't fucking.
Oh yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Yeah, and it gave you this false sense of confidence, and you had a secret. I mean, it was
No, it gave you a huge amount of confidence because I didn't need it. Who the fuck needs to do this? This is so much more entertaining. I started dating this girl at the time,
Judy.
who got pregnant and who actually had my daughter, who I just met 6 years ago.
I wasn't even there yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. It's all right.
But she was helping. She was helping out with stuff, and it was it was a blast. And I went up on these major movies, and I got them. I probably was good, but it was also
give a shit.
I didn't give a flying fuck. I had real stuff to do. What you and your stupid movie?
And it's
what the fuck do I know?
I love the way you describe some of those auditions, and then the fact that you walk in and you're looking at these casting people and producers. You're like, oh fuck you fucking asshole. I just want to have that. I want to go in and be like, you know what? You're fucking lucky to have me. You motherfucker.
Don't start. It's fun for a while.
I'm not doing drugs. I'm not doing it.
But it was Linus's brother, Tony, who I went in and asked him about it in Stevens Landing. He said it's a fun life, but it's a short life.
Right.
And he did 2 years, and I have that line. He said, if you do get busted and you go inside, and you get no fight, don't back down.
Right.
Because that's how you get respect. And he was anyway. But
so. You're dealing drugs. You meet Julie, who that's another, I think, great love story in the book. You meet her, and she's just the hottest thing. You can't even fucking believe.
Yeah, she's pretty hot. Yeah.
And one night you go to the club where she works with a couple of friends.
The strip club.
And one of your friends can't even fuck it. It's the first time that it's the
Milo Goldstein. Milo Goldstein.
Yeah.
It was Milo Goldstein who was like the nerdiest. He made Woody Allen look hip.
Yeah. And can't even contain himself at this fucking strip club.
No, and he's spoken to her, had this wonderful relationship, and he's very mild mannered, and he's also still one of my best friends. And but he's one of the most mild mannered, kind, sweet guys you've ever met. guy you ever met. But when he saw her come out, it was like he has this inner monologue, which I kind of love. It's like, oh my God, they never taught me this at Temple. You know, I never thought that women like, she looks like a Tuscan sculpture. How is that possible? And he said, Robbie and Moss are giggling like used car salesmen. I mean, how can they be so cool about this? I've never, oh my God, and his hand starts going up to touch her. And she just looks at him. She's like, Milo, what are you doing? And he was just like, oh, and he was all ashamed. And she's like, are you having fun? And he keeps on saying, yes, 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 because he doesn't know what else, because he's so nervous and he's so uptight about the whole thing. But it was fun. I got to say, a lot of it was fun. Yeah. It was pretty.
It seems really like you're living vicariously through these at a really amazing time.
Yeah.
You know, amazing decade. Then, so Julie ends up moving in.
Yes, she does.
And you and T-Balt and Julie essentially become a family. T-Balt is very attached to her.
Yeah,
Tybalt.
very much.
I'm sorry.
Tybalt. That's okay. It's actually Romeo and Juliet, you know, the fiery Tybalt.
Oh, right. Of course, you know. I knew that, Tybalt.
No, I have a line in the thing in the book about, like, I called him Tybalt, and then says, but that's the Prince of Cats. And I was like, I pretended to know it even though I didn't know it.
Right.
And I'm like, fuck you, we like the name anyway.
I knew that. What are you talking about? I have a speech impediment, okay?
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Make another smart choice with Auto Quote Explorer to compare rates from multiple car insurance companies all at once. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Then you're like, Jordan, what the fuck's going on? Everything's sort of lightening up.
It was really bad. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, I'm going to go to LA. And you, Julie, and Tybalt go to LA.
No, actually, they stayed back. I went by myself, and I just missed them terribly. Yeah, I missed them terribly.
I had this whole vision that they came with you, and then, but I loved your time in LA. Like, the one thing I loved, you said, the thing about LA is that you know, the weather's good every day. And like, it's so fucking boring. And you said, you know, in New York, at least like it rains every now and then and you can be miserable. It's like, you can't be miserable in LA.
Yeah,
I fucking love that. And and you also had talked about, this was where everyone thought only New York actors could act. So you were like, I'm so getting this. Oh, I thought they were there for a little bit. I didn't know that they didn't come visit you.
No, we had this huge reunion in the airport, though, which was really kind of amazing, you know,
So you come back.
Yeah.
Julie is like, I don't want to strip anymore.
Yeah.
And opens a flower shop.
Yeah.
And you kind of, the whole excitement of Julie, and you're still like, what the fuck's going on? Are we going to get more work, Jordan?
Yeah.
It's starting to slow down, and you're looking at Julie more as like, wait, where's that fucking passion, excitement? We're now like a boring family.
Yeah. And I was just so young, you know, I was like,
really young.
I was like 28, 29. And it's just like, and for guys, that's like, I mean, women are just grown up by then, but it's like guys are just children until they're like 40, you know, and they're still children, you know.
Hello, please.
And I just wasn't ready for that, you know, date. You know, it's just, and I was still drinking like, God almighty. I mean, it was just crazy.
Yeah, you were, the amount that, I can't believe you have a liver, by the way, after reading.
Yeah, no. And when I got sober, they were really surprised. I mean, I got checked out and everything's fine. Thank God.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay. So you fast forward, Jordan has another deal, but this time it's not as, I guess, how would you like it wasn't as perfect as the other ones.
We've been dry for like 8 months, maybe a year. It was really bad. And this deal coming in, it was like, the driver wasn't there. One of the boxes was ripped open, and I just knew in my gut something is really bad about this. And I just don't. And I knew there's something about me knew it. And he was like, "Come on, let's take it in." And I knew, like, if I touched it, that's not a good thing. And and I kept on looking down to West End Avenue, looking at all these rows of parked cars, and it's like the air was like screaming at me, And I remember taking that load up with the pods are exposed. This is really bad. So I take and this is 250 pounds.
And it smelled.
No, it didn't, because the pods were such that the pods were done. I mean, you're talking about bubble wrap, bounces in there, and there are a lot of layers to get through. But and then I took the first load up, and I was yelling at Tibble because he always get excited, and I never yelled at Tibble.
Right? Yeah, you said you got mad at yourself.
Yeah, and I felt terrible. And then I came down. We brought the second load up, and that's when I opened the book, and Jordan's just going cash, 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 because he's been dry for so long.
Right.
And that's when the fat lady started singing. It was just like all these guys started coming in, and it was like, and then you're just like moving through rubber, because when these really bad things happen, it takes a while for to wrap your brain around it. Like, this couldn't possibly be happening to me.
It's kind of interesting. You break up with Julie. She tells you at some point in the future that she's pregnant. And you really want her to get an abortion. She goes, but ends up, of course, not getting it. And then Tibble, you fall asleep in a chair at one point. You're so wasted, and you had a split cigarette, and you almost lit the place on fire. And Tibble, he woke you up. He licked your burnt finger immediately. That story with the vodka, you went to get some vodka, and he jumped on the counter to. I mean, wow! And this all happened before. It was sort of like someone was telling you something,
Yeah, he was like, and he would look when I remember that cigarette, and I remember I woke up. He was looking at me like, "What the fuck are you doing, man?" And he was like, and he had woken me up. If he didn't wake me up, I mean, I don't know what happens. I mean, maybe my finger just gets burnt. Maybe it goes in the carpet. I don't know. I mean, we've heard this story before.
Right.
But he really was like, there was something else going on. I mean, he was really like, he didn't like it when I saw Jordan. He didn't like the idea of Jordan.
It's just, he was like, immediately. Yeah.
And when we got busted, he was like, not, oh, cute little puppy. He knew, like, these guys, it was bad. And he just backed up to fool everybody, like, oh yeah, I'm a dog, but I'm not going to do anything crazy.
Right.
And I said, I have a line, like, he practically had his paws up.
Yeah.
And everybody went from, like, ready to kill, because they said, like, we're going to have to shoot your dog if he does anything.
I know. That was,
I knew that if they did that I would not be here talking to you. I mean, I was just like, that's like, but he just, and they relaxed. They stopped, they cooled it. So
I love the description of the car ride. Saying the town shop.
Town shop for Braziers, Shakespeare and Company.
It's like my neighborhood. I'm like, oh my God, I could just see this entire thing happening.
But you could roam about footloose and fancy free.
Right.
Fucking like cuffed going downtown. And I'm like, I can't do that anymore.
Right.
Drag,
Yeah. So.
Oh my God.
The whole trial and the fact that Ben, your horrible stepfather, really supports you.
He was remarkable in a crisis.
Right.
He was remarkable in a crisis. And I think Chekhov said, any idiot can handle a crisis. It's this day-to-day living that wears you down.
Right.
But he was quite remarkable and he was so remarkable that the lawyers he got me, one of them said, does your stepfather have a background in criminal law? Right. And I said, no. And he said, we've never met someone as sharp as him. He's he's really on the ball. I mean, it's scary how much he knows.
It's also incredible how many people came there to support you.
Oh, yeah, it was packed, yeah.
Yeah. And the way, I'm not even saying what the sentence was, but the way you wrote the sentence was perfect.
Oh, thanks.
Perfect. I'm not giving it away. You got to read the book, you motherfuckers. So cut to, you're sober.
Now, yeah.
Yeah, you're sober. You have a great son, Caleb.
Yes.
You met your daughter.
That's 6 years ago.
And?
She's amazing. We have a great relationship, and it's ever evolving. I always feel like she's 31. Wow. She is like single mom. I'm a grandfather, and it's God. Like, but she's like, she's just. I'm in awe of her. I'm blessed that she gives me the time of day. We have dinner about once a week. I call her all the time. She takes my phone calls. She's 31. I'm sure the only person that she takes her phone, because 31 years old is texting all the time. And she's just one of the most remarkably competent, and I mean that in the highest sense of the word, people I've ever met. I mean, she can just handle anything. It's just incredible.
You talked about in the beginning about how this absence of your father.
Yeah.
And then, it's sort of repeated with this daughter. Do you feel like really bad about those?
I got in touch with Julie like about 20 years ago when I got clean to do an amends. And I said in a roundabout way that like if there's any way I can participate or anything I can do. But it's also I had no lean on her because I hadn't been there, and I was in no way going to get in the way of that. But I made it clear like I would love to meet her. I got a letter from her. She was 24 at the time, so 7 years ago. She's 31, and the letter read, my name is Audrey Henderson. It's my understanding that you dated Julie, in the 80s. I believe you're my biological father. I don't want to inject any mayhem or catastrophe into your life. I would just love a conversation if that's possible. And I come to New York frequently. I live in Florida. I would love to meet you. And I called her immediately. And it was, we saw each other a couple weeks.
What was that phone call like?
It's scary because you weren't there. And
just to hear her voice.
Yeah, no. And she knew that something was up because it was obviously a foreign number and stuff like that. And she was very hello. And I said, hi, Audrey, this is Rob Sedgwick. And she was like, oh, hi. And I was like, hi. I said, and I don't remember what we talked about, but I said, of course, I'd love to meet you. And came to New York a couple of weeks later. And it was funny. I was ready for this whole emotional cathartic thing. And, but I see her and she's tall blonde wearing these pink satin pants. But I didn't know her, so you're meeting a perfect stranger. So you think that there's going to be this enormous thing. And I spoke to Seth Goldberg about it with his speech impediment. And he said, why would there be an emotional catharsis? You don't know. She's a perfect stranger.
Right.
And it's true. She's a perfect stranger. So, but I was really like, trying to listen as much as possible, not to babble too much.
Did you see yourself in her?
I saw my young, when you see early pictures of my father, that's what I see.
Wow.
She's more Julie's face, but when you see early pictures of my father, it's very similar. But the great thing is she has a great relation. I mean, I see her all the time.
And she did have a father figure or something.
Yeah. But I mean, she, we had dinner last week. She came, and Jalen is the name of my grandson. Caleb and I were in the park, and they came to meet us in the park. We were going to go out for dinner. And we were having so much fun. She's like, why don't I just get food? We'll have dinner here. So she went to she went to restaurants. We were all hanging out, and it was like, and she's amazing. I mean, I'm really in awe of her, and I'm just so grateful that she's there and that she seems to really like me, I think. I mean, because she...
What's not to like, Rob?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't there, but it was like I'm really trying to make up for that.
But aren't you kind of glad that you weren't there the way you were?
I would have been a disaster.
It would have been a disaster.
Because
and it would have fucked her up.
With the way I'm with Caleb now, It's like I make mistakes. We all make mistakes, but it's like I'm there. I'm an adult. I don't go too far with yet yelling and screaming. He knows that he's safe. He knows that I love him. But it's fascinating because I've been with him since the day he was born, and then Audrey is like, she's a grown up. She's a mom,
But she's going to be with you for the rest of your life.
She's amazing. Yeah, I'm crazy about her. I mean, it's just great. And it's a real gift being, as you know, as much of a pain in the ass. Well, she's not a pain in the ass. Caleb's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But it's just like we're so blessed.
Oh, beyond.
I mean, it's like I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's like it's such a gift, and also to be sober and present for it.
This week's episode of It's Judy Show with Judy Gold is sponsored by BetterHelp. And if you know me, which I think you do because you're listening to my podcast right now, you know that I am a big advocate for therapy. I think it benefits everyone. I think there's so many people who need it, who don't partake. It is so important for your emotional health and well-being. Therapy is fantastic. It is in every stretch of the imagination. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, please do it. But please give BetterHelp a try. It is entirely online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible. It suits your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. I have switched therapists in my life. I've had many, many therapists, and sometimes it's not a great fit for you, but don't give up. Therapy is beneficial. You can learn about yourself. You can process and just be emotionally healthy. I'm telling you, do it. BetterHelp is great because, when I used to schlep to my therapist's office, it was so annoying. You have to do it and you sit there and you wait. And then I'm telling you, doing it online is fantastic. And BetterHelp is amazing. I know a lot of people who've used it. So if you're thinking about therapy, go to BetterHelp.com. Let the gratitude flow. This is Gratitude Month, people. So you need to let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/JudyGold, JudyGold, today, and you will get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JudyGold. You're welcome.
It's just amazing when you think about the first 30 plus years of your life. I mean, when you were in LA, you talked about, getting, oh no, that was in New York. You got pulled over. Didn't you get pulled over for something? And it was, you didn't have you were driving your brother-in-law, Kevin Bacon's.
Oh no, we were driving. Well, Julie would always drive up to Connecticut. She always sped, but she would just bat her baby blues and they would give her away. Of course, I wasn't going that far over the speed limit. She kept on saying, go faster. Of course, I get pulled over.
Right.
And a guy runs my license. I used to be a bicycle messenger, and I have a chapter about that in the book.
The whole bicycle messenger thing, where you get in a fucking accident and you call them and they're like, oh, and you're like, I got to go to the hospital. And the guy's like, all right, well, how many packages do you have left?
Yeah, literally. He was like, but you're still in the neighborhood, right? Can you use your other hand? Well, maybe you could deliver the packages, then go to the hospital. And you're so fucked up. You're like,
crazy.
No, I think I'll go to and I drove to the hospital like with my busted fucking wrist like this, I mean, it was just crazy. But the guy ran the license and my license was suspended because I got all these tickets from bicycle messengering. And it was, so they put me inside and the guy threatened to shoot Tybalt, and Julie went from she went from prim and proper to you're going to shoot our fucking dog over a fucking speeding ticket?
Yeah,
what the fuck? Because she was a badass. I mean, she was really someone you did not want to push and fuck with. And she was physically one of the most powerful people I've ever seen.
Right.
And, but we got bail posted. And I remember saying to Jordan, oh my, I told him what happened. He's like, oh my God, you thought shades of things to come, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And he said, don't worry, it'll never happen.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think I just love your story. You've lived two lives, pretty much. The book is fucking Please buy the book, Bob Goes to Jail. It's so great. It's such a good read, even though I had to read it on my computer. I want a signed copy when it comes out.
You got it. And it's on Amazon. They can pre-order it right now, Bob Goes to Jail.
Oh, they can? Okay, good. All right. I always ask, and thank you for being here.
You're like the most delightful person I've met in years.
Really?
That hasn't been in my inner circle. Yeah, you're terrific.
God, I love
you're really a pleasure. I mean, it's really a pleasure.
Let's keep that in the podcast, please, everyone. So I asked my guests 2 questions. Number 1, what do you do for mental health? Do you take antidepressants? Do you meditate? Do you exercise? Like, we're very pro mental health, and we try to let everyone know there's no stigma and that everyone does something to support their mental health. So what do you do to support your mental health?
I exercise like a maniac, so I don't go crazy. I box a lot, and I go to the gym like too much. But
I used to do that.
Yeah, but I also make. Now the meetings are open again. I'm making meetings.
They were doing them via Zoom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a few Al-Anon meetings.
Zoom was tough, but I went live to an old meeting of mine, and it was just like, and there were problems with it because people were talking so much, but it was like, thank God,
Right.
And I'm lucky I'm an alcoholic because I earned my seat there, and I can go there, and I can, and I might be people I don't know, but we all know each other because we have the same thing. So we belong to this really sterling brotherhood and sisterhood and peoplehood, which is really quite extraordinary. And I just wish that everybody could do it because it's about being a better person, accepting responsibility for your part in things, and moreover, helping other people and
That's
putting
the best part of it.
Putting that above all of your shit. So I'm really, it's funny because Ben was abusive, blah, 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 and things were tough, but I'm so grateful now. I'm like, I have high class problems, and it's like, it's great,
I used to box, and then my fucking thumb, I got arthritis in my thumb. It's the best fucking exercise, and it's so good for your head. Too.
Yeah, no, I used to spar a lot too, and
you must have really good abs.
And I've been told,
really? Have you? I've never heard that. No one has ever said to me in my entire life, "You have really good abs." I'm just letting you know that.
I can show you.
Really?
I can teach you. Yeah.
Second question, I just want to say before I ask you this question that Brandeis University just came out with a list of things you're not allowed to say.
Oh my God.
And it's fucking ridiculous. I'm putting
it's really hard. Yeah.
It's so fucking annoying. And one of them is kill me now, kill me, or I'm going to kill myself. So I really can't even talk anymore because I basically say I'm going to kill myself or kill me now about 100 times a day, which is why my podcast is called Kill Me Now, because I get so annoyed at everything. I can't fucking take people. I hate everyone, but what pisses you off more than anything, like makes you fucking crazy mad? It could be anything. It could be like...
It could be anything?
Yeah, it could be people talking on speakerphone in the... Yeah, it doesn't matter. What fucking pisses you off?
Well, I've been in New York all my life, so I'm kind of pissed off the second I walk out the door. I have a new dog, Charlotte, and so that's wonderful.
Right.
But pretty much like the COVID thing, I moved and I tried to get in the elevator, and I'm with Charlotte and I'm trying to get into the elevator. And I said, it was a woman and a man. I said, is it okay if I take the elevator? I'm vaccinated. I had a mask on. She's like, well, I'm doing this show now, but yeah, you can come in. So I come in, and the guy, he's like, no, get away. No, get away. I'm backing up and I'm stepping on Charlotte. And she's a pit bull, but she's a dainty thing. She's like screaming, like, what's going on? She's like yelping. And I'm like, motherfucker, you don't fucking, I'm yelling and screaming at the guy.
You don't fucking talk to me like that.
And I said, you don't fucking talk to me like that. She said it was okay. You don't fucking, and he's yelling at me. And of course the door closes. But that's a New York day.
Right. But then that's the bad part. The door closes and you're like, I'm going down the fucking stairs and I'm going to fucking scream at him.
Oh, I know that guy lives on 7.
Oh, I hate him.
He lives on 7. And then all the other people are like, so this building is so great, but the guy on 7, and they're like,
really?
Which one? I'm like, there's a guy on 7. So I'm like waiting. And then he did it the other day. The elevator was coming up and down, and we'd been waiting, and it's usually a quick elevator. It opens up, and he's just sitting there in the front with his mask on. And he's like, sorry. And I'm like, and I was like, oh yeah, you're the fucking asshole who was telling me the other day, and who like had me step on my dog. But I think if you're in New York, you get mad because the subway's late. You get mad at people who are talking when you're like listening to something or you're trying to do something. People are like blah 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 blah. I just wait, and I wait for them to pass. But I think if you're a real New Yorker, I think you're mad all the time.
Oh, all the time.
I mean,
you have so much stimulation coming at you, and you have no control. Like when I get on the subway, and I'm like, I'd say I do a spot. Or a set at the Cellar, and then I have another set uptown at another club. And I get on the fucking subway, and it says 14 fucking minutes on a Saturday night. And I'm like, I'm going to be late because you're a fucking asshole, and you fucking should have this train coming every 2 minutes. It's just like, and you can't get any cabs anymore. Like, there's no cabs.
Yeah, I guess. And then you could do Uber, but it's so fucking expensive.
Oh my God, they quadrupled it. Then there's no city bikes left. Like, I know, it's awful.
I'm coming to see you perform, young lady.
Yeah, baby.
I'm finding out where it is, and I'm coming there. I'm going to be front row. You're a delight. You're an absolute delight.
Rob.
And thank you for reading it. I know a lot of people don't read anymore.
Oh, I know. Well, it's the only way to fucking learn shit.
Thank you.
But
thank you.
Everyone get this book. It's fucking great. Bob Goes to Jail. But there's so much more than Bob going to jail in the book. Rob, you're the fucking best. Good luck with everything.
Thank you very much. And I can't wait
for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. You're an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much for listening to part 2 of Kill Me Now with Rob Sedgwick. Kill Me Now is produced by Laura Vogel, edited by Colin Schmaling. This podcast would not be possible without the help and love and loyalty of Brittany Jo Sowards. Please subscribe. Please leave a review. I want more people to listen. I love interviewing people, and I think you know that. So 5 stars. 5 stars, please. Buy my book. Go to my website, judygold.com. You'll find everything you need to know about me there. You'll find my book. You'll find articles I've written. You'll find really incredible headshots of my different hairstyles. It's a lot. So there you go. If you're on the Cape, please come see my show in P-Town, Provincetown. That's Fridays and Saturdays in July, Tuesday and Wednesdays in August at the Art House. I'm doing a bunch of other gigs. I'm going to Atlanta for August 1st. I'm going to be on the Aquafina is Nora from Queens on August 18th. There's a lot going on, people. So check it out at judygold.com. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at judygold, JEWDYGOLD. Tell everyone about the podcast, please. I really want to keep doing this. I really do love it. I love people's stories, and I love that you listen. Please wear a fucking mask if you're in a large group of people. God damn it. If you're not vaccinated, there's something wrong with you, and you're selfish and a fucking asshole. So please stay safe. I love all of you for listening. Enjoy the summer. And that's all I have to say. Thank you again. And as we always say, so long.
And everything was wonderful. I'll see you soon. Thank you for the visit. So long.